All right, good evening, everybody. Is the mic working?
Yes.
Since you're working. Okay, great. Welcome, everybody, to Drisha. Lovely to see you all here for this year on the legacy of Rav Kook, Love Without Limits by Rabbi Daniel Landis. Landis is the director of Pardes and has been active in the creation of many programs there, including, I'll note, the Pardes Kollel, which I was fortunate enough to attend for several years, the formative period of my own life. Well, rather than reading your whole bio, I will just note that I have very distinct memories as we came this afternoon of moments in Rabbi Landis' office in Jerusalem with a picture of his great grandfather on the wall, and learning Rav Kook actually in seminars, and those moments of opening up both of the opportunities as well as some of the challenges in Rav Kook's legacy have stayed with me to this day. And I'm very pleased to be able to share that with you all in our Beit Midrash here. Everyone should have a source sheet. Everyone not have a source sheet? Okay, great. So without further ado, I give you Rabbi Landis.
Thank you. It's great to be with all the Drisha people this summer, and to be with Kollel students that I had. Rabbi Kelson, who really helped teach the Kollel during this time, was my assistant, and Rabbi Epstein, who did not teach the Kollel, but could have, if you didn't interrupt me with so many questions, could have worked out that way. Okay, so let's see. Take a look on page 4. Page 4. Rav Kook has Musar Vicha. I'm sorry for not having the Hebrew title there. Moral principles under love. He says, look at number 3. I have 1, 2, 3, 3. One cannot but love God. One cannot but love the Torah and commandments. I'm skipping over, as you say. One cannot but love equity and righteousness. And it's impossible not to be filled with love for every creature. When I first learned this is in my real youth, I said to myself, it's not impossible. I don't love anybody on this list. I couldn't figure it out. Rav Kook. So the question is, with Rav Kook, is this just because he's a big tzaddik? If he's a big tzaddik, then it becomes kind of interesting, but somewhat irrelevant. Maybe this whole love thing is really aspirational, which means good for somebody else. After I finish or make the siyum and Yerushalmi, I'll get to it or whatever. Or when he says this, is it descriptive? This is the way certain people do operate? Is it even prescriptive? This is the way we're supposed to operate? Actually, to cut through all this, I think for Rav Kook, it's all those things at once. Actually, he means it seriously. So if he means it seriously, come from a Lithuanian family, actually, Talmidim of Rav Kook, very close to Rav Kook. And if I had to summarize, for some of you who are old enough here, this occurred to me as I was humming it, coming in the room. For most of my Lithuanian family, they would summarize that old hit in the 1980s. What does love got to do with it? Do the mitzvahs. What is love? Even for the mitzvahs of love, we know where the mitzvahs of love are. Mitzvah, and usually Ashkenazi, when I teach them. The mitzvahs of love, V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha, but you can kind of define that also, although it expands itself in Sefer Ma'at of the Rambam. The other ones of Ahavat Yisrael, we have also looking Sefer Ma'at, but very concrete things in terms of what it means to love with all Jew. Ahavat Ger, that's a big one, repeated a lot of times in Torah because it's evidently not a simple one to do, and that's where it stops. As far as I know, this other Ahava that he has down here just doesn't doesn't take a place in most of traditional Judaism or Judaism that we live. I need to say, so this has always been on my, this is a new share. So this has always been on my mind. I've always been connected towards it. A number of things have driven me to give a share in order to work it out, at least for myself, during this time. And then other things have propelled me further. Last week I was in was it last week? Yes. Last week I was in Los Angeles. I went to a memorial meeting in the AME Church downtown Los Angeles for the tragic murders in Charleston. I don't go to church often. Really not in the dialogic frame most of the time. I'm more in the polemic frame most of the time. Go to church, and I hear talk about love and forgiveness. And I'm saying, what's this all about? And on Sunday, maybe some of you watched the church service in Charleston, which members of the family who were slain got up and spoke about love and spoke about forgiveness for the murderer. It was almost, I think it's like it's like a different way of it. It's inconceivable. I never gave a instruction like that. I never heard a instruction like that. And, so what are these tears coming down my cheeks and, they're no different than anybody else in America. So this kind of propelled, made the urgency, the share was prepared, but the urgency further. So, okay, so that's where I am, and thank you for being my therapist. But really, I'll lie down. So this is what I want to do. This is how I want to take it. I want to understand Rav Kook. I want to understand him in terms of his own words, his own way he kind of sees the world. I think simultaneously, I'm trying to understand Rav Kook. I'm also trying to understand this notion of what is it, or what propels us. It's impossible not to love. What's the Hebrew for that? Efshar shalom lahov. Efshar shalom. Repeats this whole thing. This last one, the Efshar shalom lahitmalei ahava lahov. Impossible not to be full. Full is a very good term for it, because full is a really halachic term, which means what? Overflow. Right? That's your kos on the Havdalah. That's your kos for Havdalah, or maybe your kos Eliyahu. And that's, that's you feel to be malay, which means really overflowing. What does that mean? So, this is what we're going to do. I had to figure out a way of getting closer to it. I did say hello to almost everyone present. I'm working on the love. I'm working on it. So I want to start with a poem of his. And we're going to do it together. So this poem, I have my own version of these pages. It's should be found on page 1. There's a little poem. We're going to skip the little poem. And we're going to go to Ani Malei Ahava L'Elohim. So this is how we're going to work it. I need 7 English readers. You do not need to volunteer. Volunteer your friends. Turn them in. I have a friend. I made a friend. Victoria, you're number 1.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you're number 1. I need number 2. Number 2. I have a good friend. Okay, number 2. Who's number 3? Number 3. What's your first name again? Yeah. Okay. So number 3. Number 4. Who? Number 4. From the back. You can't hide. Oh, that man over there. I didn't notice you before, Rabbi. Okay, number 4. Number 5. What? That was number 5. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got somebody's paying attention, okay? Number 6. You're number 6. Thank you for volunteering. And who's number 7? Who's number 7? Okay, number 7. When I say 1, number 1 will read. So I'm going to read from the Hebrew, and feel free to correct me. By the way, see, This translation is a wonderful translation of Neil Boxer plus a memory Rabbi Baxter. You'll see that I made some additions in bold, and now also I have to make some changes of my translation because I see I made some mistakes, or some mistakes are there. I made some changes to this, so there'll be Rav Kook, there'll be Baxter, there'll be Landis, and there'll be Rashi at Landis, and we're going to go through it. The poem has to be read out loud. Okay, the poem doesn't have to be shuffled. The poem has to be read out loud, and you can correct me on my Hebrew. In fact, please correct me on my Hebrew. Ani rolei ahava Elohim. Ani yodea shema shani mevakesh, ma shani ohev. Einenu nikra b'shum shem. איך יקרא בשם משהו יותר מן הכל, יותר מן הטוב, יותר מן המהות, יותר מן ההוויה, ואני אוהב. ואני אומר, אני אוהב את האלוהים. Number one.
I'm filled with love for God. I know that what I seek, what I love, cannot be called by a name. How can one designate by a name that which is greater than all, greater than the good, greater than reality, greater than existence? I love. I say I love God.
שכן הוא אור אין סוף. זה הביטוי של האלוהים. ובכל השמות והכינויים שלבב האדם הורב והוגה, כי נושא נשמתו למעלה too.
Light infinite abides in the utterance of the name, in the invocation of God, and in all the names and designations the human heart has conceived and spoken when the soul soars upward.
אין יכול להשביע את נשמתי, ועושה האהבה הבאה בכפרי ההיגיון, בחיפוש אור שעל ידי העולם, שעל ידי ההוויה החודרת בסוף העיניים. נולדים לנו בנשמות אורות אלוהים רבים בהשקפת רוחנו, אל אחד אמס ולפני אחד בעמק הניסו אלוהים מסתעלה. שולט בנו כובש את כל רוחנו רוח כל היקום. כל מקום שיש רעיון, רגש, מחשבה ורצון, כל מקום שיש חיים אציליים, רוחניים. Number 3. Aha. Well, you'll be number 3. I cannot stand aside.
Sorry, ended, but I didn't see where. I cannot satisfy my soul with the love sustained by the web of logic, with the quest for light revealed by the world by existence. As it sprays itself before our eyes, divine lights are born in our souls. Many gods according to our conception, before we know him, one true God, in the fullness of his mystery, and before one, reveals in essence the nations of himself, God is revealed.
Okay, thank you for putting both translations together. But they're 2 separate translations, I think I should have told you. Okay, continue. He reigns, or I'm sorry, he commands.
He commands and conquers all our being, the life of the universe, wherever there is thought, feeling, will, wherever there is refined spiritual life.
Thank you. Molech or Elohi, Moshel, Kovesh, Misnot Seis, Misader, Mehader, Lefaer, Mechaya, Meromaim, Hakol Besoch, Habihirus Shel Or Havaya, Molech Vomes, Hamamlocha Kitsuva. Kol Zaman Shehi Ba'a Misocha Olam Misocha Havaya L'Famim Mistaber Ha'or Roseh HaChefetz Ba'or Yoser Adid Yoser Pnimi Yoser Emet. It should be Yoter Emet. Shehu Asmo Yoter Aziz B'Tochen Tochi Yusah. Mofia Ha'or Al HaKli Hamachshava Al Havaya Ein HaMa'amad Yochol Yishtayim Ein HaTochen Holem B'Shavrim HaKelim Mesim HaMelachim Mesim Ha'elim. Who is the true number 4? Okay, hit it. A light,
divine reigns.
rules.
You want me to
Yeah, do that.
A light divine reigns, rules, conquers, ignites, brilliance, glories, glorifies, gives life, goes up through the clearness of the light, Havaya, existence, reigns and dies, a limited sovereignty, from the world, from existence, the light eternal, at times overpowers. We seek a purer light, more inward, more of the truth as it is itself, more power within inner essence. The light outruns the vessel, thought soars beyond existence, the ordered world breaks down. The content cannot withstand the vessel broken. Kings are dead, gods are dead, their souls.
Vishmatam Mistalkim, Merikia Lasachakim, Agufim Yerudim, La'alma de Peruda, Ahavaya Misyatseves, Aruma, Bodada, Krua, Kizura, Bekirba, Gnos, Vitamir, Cheshek Olamim, Laor, Elyon, number 5.
Their souls have departed from permanent to shadows.
It's a mistake, to heavens. From firmament to heavens.
The body's lowered to the world of separation. Ahavaya, existence, she is curled. Naked alone, torn up, scattered. Within her, heaped up, hidden in secret. Desire eternal for supernal life.
Chesed, Olamim, Einiach, Bekelim, Nishmarim, Esoro, Besnitzatzov, Bechol, Tenuah, Bechol, Tochen, Chayim, Bechol, Mahus, Yesh, Yesh, Nitzutz, Nitzutz, Shel Nitzutz, Dak, V'dak, Mikol, Dak. 6.
In his eternal mercy, God left in the world the vessel as it is this life, and every life falls, and every life sucks. In all existence.
Change that to in everything that is.
In everything that is. In all existence, there is a spark, faint and fainter.
Ha'or Pnimi, Or Elohim Elyon, Bonel Miyaseh, Mikabetz, Nifazrim, Metakein, Olmei Ad, Misader, Mechaber, Miskalem, Mahus, Olamim, Meor Ein Sof, Shebetochi Yus HaNeshama, Me'ohim El Olam, Or Chadash Nolad, Or Ziv Hadar Pnei El. Number 7.
The inner light, the light of God's being, fills and establishes, resembles what is scattered, perfects wounds without end, coils and binds together.
Skip the next line, should be out. Through
Through the light unbounded within the soul, from God into the world, a new light is born, a light emanating in the splendor of God's face.
Okay, easy poem, huh? Okay. Look at the poem for a second. We're going to do it by section. These sections are made up. There's no 7 sections in the original. But, I like to hear different voices, and it's good to hear different voices. But where's the change in the poem? Where's the poem change? Maybe it changes more than once. But where's the place where you see the change? Am I allowed to walk around? as I walk over. What? Wait a second. How am I supposed to do this? So once I yeah. Thank you. Let's go back. Okay. I apologize. Now, okay, there's a break, there's a change. Where do you see a change? Aha. All right. Anybody? Yeah? Speak to the group.
I see a change, the order world breaks down content panel.
That's where. Number what? Put the numbers in for us? Or
No. It's in the things are dead, but
Okay, yeah, that seems pretty stunning change.
beginning of gates.
Everything's dead. Okay? All right. Anybody else? Another change? Earlier, perhaps? Thank you for that. That was good. Yes, what do you have? What do you have?
So that the wherever you will start in your that you find spiritual life.
So where is that? What line is that? Or what section is that?
Towards the top.
I'm sorry, say it again?
Towards the top, the second page.
Okay, give me the line again.
Well, the two lines will as where the other is.
Okay, I think that's good too. I think there is a change. A lot of bumps, a lot of changes here. Anybody else? Yes, what do you got?
Going back to the first.
Yeah.
The last line on the second page.
I know I got a different page here. So what line is that?
I don't remember, sorry. The inner line, the light of God is revealed and established.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, that's good. What do you have? So tell me what you think. Okay, I didn't hear that. So, what?
First person singular of 3-4 lines before the end.
Yeah, how about that? How about that? Thank you. I didn't see it, but you're absolutely right. Thank you for that. And we have one more?
It also goes from the human to the divine.
Human to divine. So what part is the human?
I, we, and then he.
And where did that take place?
God reveals information to himself, he commands and conquers over being. So that's looking at God.
Okay, very good. Okay, great. I'm going to go through the sections as I made the sections. I'll remind you where these sections are. Okay? First section 1 starts with I am filled with love for God. Ani malei ahava Elohim. And I stop the section, which I think is the right place to stop it, is, or if you can stop it. Ani ohe. God's greater. Okay, so okay, maybe we should do it this way. What's the maybe what? Also, the question is like, what's one of the rubs in the poem? When the first rubs in the poem or problematics in the poem is just naming God. You name God, it's problematic because a name is delimiting. Delimiting or limiting? Yeah, I'll use those both terms. That's a problem. So he says, what I love cannot be called by a name. Because every name has a significance, right? Right? Rabbi Landis, students are really close to me, call me Rabbi, but I'm really messed up. Just got off the phone with my wife in Israel. She said, Daniel, when she says Daniel, every name means a relationship. How can one designate by name that which is greater than all? Right? The transcendence of God, the infinity of God. Greater than the good. Tov is going to be a very big, important term for Rav Kook. We're going to come back to that. Greater than Mahut, reality, that's not a bad translation. Right? Greater than Havaya. Havaya means what? It says here existence. But what is it? Well, it's a big question with Havaya, because Havaya is everything. We say God's name is, we talk about that as Lashona Havaya, right? You look at the word Havaya. Havaya means at the same time existence, but also, so it's totally immanent, but also places the immanent within, since it's also, you find the yud and the hey and all the other terms, all the other letters of God within that. So Lashon Havayah means it's all of existence places itself right within God. Fancy term is panentheism, not that everything is God, but everything is within God. So God's great and all that. So how do these terms work? But on the other hand, he has to make the statement. V'ani omer. I'm going to say that statement, which is a difficult statement to say. I love et Elohim, the least fancy name for God. Elohim has another sense. Sometimes, what's another sense for Elohim? All you Talmudic students or Kabbalah students, what?
Justice.
Aha, so sometimes Elohim refers to the Midat Din, refers to justice, absolutely. Anything else? Elohim could be. Yes?
God of natural law.
God of the law of nature of nature. Okay, I'm just going to give it a wider, but you're absolutely right. There's another deal with the word Elohim. What's the Apikoros problem with the word Elohim? Literally means it's plural. Hey, what happens with that? But I have to say that I love God. Now, what's this plurality business or this nature business? God's greater. As soon as he says, so I don't know which one of you are here in a significant relationship, but everything changes when the other will say, really, I love you. And even if they get your name a little wrong, but they should probably get your name right. And it will be, whatever it is, I love you, that it all changes. This poem changes at this moment. When he declares, even though it's a problematic declaration, because God is more, he's picking a name. When he says, I love God, what happens? Magic. Shalchehu or Ein Sof. Here the Rabbi Boxer, light in the infinite, but Ein Sof, right? Ein Sof, the transcendence of the transcendence of God. The God that we don't even know or can't even say, the unlimited, which God abides. Where does he abide? V'habitui shel Elohim. When you say this inadequate term, this parva term, it's not even milchah, a parva term, maybe some problematic term for God, all of a sudden everything changes. Not when you just say the word. It's not a mantra. It's not really magic. It really is love. What am I doing wrong? Okay, good. I love hearing that. I'm going to look at the English with you and the Hebrew. In the utterance of the name, in the invocation of God, B'bitui shel Elohim, U'v'chol hashemot l'kimim, whatever name you take, this God appears. Shalavav ha'adam horeh v'hogeh, whatever. That the human heart has conceived and spoken, the names work. It gives you the opportunity to say, I love God. To say I love not only transforms the relationship of the person to, it doesn't only transform your relationship, it transforms the other person's relationship. When they finally have the capacity to actually say that. My old days as a rabbi, that was really something that people would come in to talk to me about. They would say, he or she has never really said, I love you. And when they reach the capacity to say it, then everything changes. Of course, then I moved to Los Angeles, which everyone loves everybody. So. Okay. The human heart, the soul soars upward. Now he kind of reflects on it. I call this section 3. If you can write it in there, write in there section 3. I can't satisfy my soul with love sustained by the web of logic. Huh? What love is that? What love is sustained by the web of logic? Rabbi Kelson. Rabbi, no, that's somebody else. You, Rabbi.
He speaks of logic and the way that he conceives of God.
Is what?
That he conceives of God. He speaks of logic.
Good, good. What method is that called? It's called learning. Look what he can't do. He was a big fellow in Torah. I can't satisfy my soul with love sustained by the web of logic. This is learning. Through the quest for light revealed by the world. What's that? That's through nature. Seeing God through nature. Okay, he's now cast off Rabbi Soloveitchik, my teacher, and Professor Heschel. Okay? Not sufficient for him. The Litvaks and the Hasidim are not sufficient for me, nor their modern interpretations. I'm being anachronistic in terms of time. Through the quest for light revealed by the world, I mean by existence as it parades itself before our eyes. Actually, choder l'toch einayim, I may translate it as existence pierces the retinas. He's not satisfied. It's not sufficient. He has this a lot in Rav Kook. For Rav Kook, it has to be the ultimate. You have to think of Rav Kook as a country western singer. Lucille, you left me here, with a crop in the field and 5 kids and a crop in the field, where are you, God? No. It's not enough to talk about God or see the world as the evidence of God. And when he gets this existence stuff, as it pierces the retinas, I don't know if he's doing a Hawking's thing, which he might be doing, this ultimate kind of deal, or is it, the ultimate understanding, knowing God's mind? Hawking's called that, not just for a book title, because there's something in that, the ultimate, that ultimate life. I think that's maybe where it is. You got a point.
Yeah, and yet he's using or as the element that he's going to use to get beyond the learning. As you know, Torah is Oraita.
So, beautiful. So I'll say this, just straight about this. For him, this is the or before creation. The or before creation. Yeah. So I'll leave it with that. So what's going to satisfy him? So here he goes. Divine lights, no dim lanu, right? I'm in 3, I'm like 8 lines down from the fire. He said 3. Did you write down 3? Okay, how are you going to relate to me? No dim lanu b'neshamos oros Elohim. Divine lights are born in our souls. Look at the Safi courses now. Elohim Rabim lahashkafas rucheinu. All right, this one was meant for stuff for me. Every time I'm in a debate or in a class, whatever, still, okay? And when someone says, my God, I say, what the hell do you mean by my God? Who the hell are you? And sometimes I say it not as nice as that. Sometimes I say it actually very strongly. But actually saying this is how it happens. Okay? Elohim is in the plural. Each one of us has a conception of how God is. It's born, doesn't mean we're born to it. It evolves from our being. I think there's a birth process that's going on here. Now we have Rabbi Bach's translation and my translation. So let me deal with that. Before we know him, in the fullness of his mystery, there's no word of him for mystery there. So before we know him in the fullness of his mystery, that's probably the 3rd line in the Hebrew, Emek Amito. That's probably how he wanted to say it. Elohim miskaleh. Before we know God, we have intimations of God. It's not a bad translation, now that I darshan it out. That's probably part of that Elohim Rabim. It can only come from ourselves. It only somehow can be funneled through ourselves. There's multiplicity in terms of how we experience. My translation, the one true God. I'm trying to do it literally. El Echad Emes, one true God. And before he is one, before one, meaning before God becomes one, in the depths of his truth, should not be God here. It should be, if I'm going to translate, it should be divinity, or just use the word Elohim again. It's revealed. In other words, it seems to be a necessary process that God comes to us through ourselves, and that it's born into us with all the limitations that it has. What do you got, Wendy? Wait. You got to stand up or something.
Do you think it might be possible to read it as El Echad Emet Lifnei Echad Emet? Lifnei Echad not meaning before one in the sense of God, but maybe like before individuals. Maybe that.
So the Lifnei, do that again. I'm getting closer.
Okay, so I was suggesting that maybe the way to read it is to read it as, that in order to have a real kind of experience of God, to some extent it needs to be an individual experience. So maybe to read the Lifnei Echad as not being before the one in God, but like before the individual.
In the depth of one person's truth?
Yeah.
You're bigger out the course than me.
Each individual kind of like needs to sort of.
Elohim Iskala. Beautiful. Can't believe it. I'm agreeing. No, I think, how come you're not on the page? The third one. El Echad Emes, Lifnei Echad. The Lifnei Echad would still push me to the translation I have. But nonetheless, the Emek HaMisal, Elohim Miskala. And it has to start with Elohim. So we're close enough, and thank you for that correction. I think that's terrific. Okay. This God, this Elohim, says here commands. I say reigns, but okay. And conquers all our being. In other words, we're overwhelmed by this. Think back to that early experience that you had as a child, that took out the Sifrei Torah and Shul, or on Yom Kippur when everyone's wearing white, or maybe that experience in the forest, and usually you have someone with you, grandfather, a trusted friend, and you have a sense. Here I'll go back to Heschel. You have the sense of the ineffable, or maybe early time of learning, or you could even be later in life. This kind of sense. All these things. That is our commanding presence of God as we perceive God. Wherever there is thought, feeling, will, wherever there is refined spiritual life, a light divine reigns. What's he saying about this experience? He's validating it. He's validating a real experience of the divine. It rules, it conquers. Whatever reason, Boxer did not translate these few words and left them out. Rules, conquers, and likes brilliance, glories, glorifies, gives life, goes up, which means transcendence through the clearness of the light of Havayah, of existence. Whoa, Rav Kook is on a trip. It's great. Everything is perfect. My God works very well for me and actually gives me a valid religious experience. Well, that's the other thing I usually get mad about. Religious experience. What the heck? Okay? Not teaching you Torah to have religious experience. I'm telling you how to. But here, Rav Kook, I didn't write this. Rav Kook says, okay. So it's great, right? Molech, it rules, it reigns, makes, and it dies. Hamamlacha Ketsuvah, it's a limited sovereignty. You created a very powerful God for yourself. It has a limited sovereignty. Doesn't fully work. Now he's going to talk about that. From the world, from existence, the light eternal at times overpowers, But we seek, let's put in the word but, a pure light, more inward, yoter adin, yoter pnimi, yoter emet shehu latzmo, yoter aziz b'toch yoso. It doesn't work forever. And what do you do, or what happens? I said, what do you do? What happens when this God is no longer working for you? Maybe you have outgrown this God. Maybe this God has become a God concept. Maybe this God has parts that are repugnant or repellent, or just dies. I like the word dies, it's pretty strong. Mofia ha'or al ha'kli. I think a brilliant translation he does here. The light outruns the vessel. Thought soars beyond Havaya. The ordered world breaks down. Ordered world is your religious world. Your very precious, well-structured, well-put-together religious world shatters. The content cannot withstand what power? It doesn't tell us. Maybe the light. The vessels are broken. The kings are dead. You know, this comes, we're talking about Shvirat HaKelim, right? We're talking about the breaking of the vessels, right? This is the Tzfat contribution, this the Lurianic contribution to Jewish thought, that in the original creation, the pre-creation, right? Our question always is, and I've mentioned two great men, Rabbi Soloveitchik, Rabbi Heschel, trying to figure out, you know, so where is God, right? And there's all sorts of responses there, right? Where is God and all that stuff, or how can there be a God and how do we get to a God, all that stuff, you know. But the problem for the Kabbalists is, oh yeah, there's definitely God. How can there be us? How can we exist in terms of this complete life? So they said the only way, and they came up with a couple of great ideas. But one of the greatest ideas is greatest tzimtzum of retraction, in which God retracted from himself, giving a halal, an empty space, which is the ability to have free will, to have people with free will, to have a creation. All very complicated, but it's not so complicated. Okay? Even in terms of life, okay? I was just with, won't say what city, yeah, I'll say a city. Sioux City, Iowa. So I was just in Sioux City, Iowa a couple of days ago, and they have the couple I was with have a prodigy of a son playing the piano. And we sat down for a concert and his practice. Do you want to join us? I said, yeah. 4 hours. I say, how often do you sit with your son at the end of the 4 hours? Let me just tell you, they're giving a big gift to Pardes. When I'm done with that. There's no question about that. 4 hours. And I say, how often do you do it? We always listen to his entire practice. We sit here. So you sit here while he practices. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Then I started teaching the notion of tzimtzum, retract, to allow for a person to create. Summer camp, maybe. One of those summer camps that don't have videos. Okay, summer camps with videos are a big problem. Okay, you get my point. So here, let's go back to this. So there's tzimtzum. So the tzimtzum, okay. So within the tzimtzum and within this halal, God's retraction, and within the halal, there's a residue of the divine there, and a independent creation, the kalim, which means vessels. It means stuff. It means things. Allow for creation. And there's creation. Then this is the next part. God's divine light, okay? I'm saving you a big trip to Tzfat. God's divine light enters, because The divine light from the outside has to relate to the creation. And the kalim cannot contain the divine light. So the kalim break. And what you end up is a world, and then different interpreters do different things, but basically you end up with a world filled with, what do you call those things? Shards? What's the Hebrew term?
Sure.
Yeah, what's the Hebrew term? Can't hear you. Somebody's telling me. What? What are the broken vessels called? Okay. No one's going to tell me?
Would it be in the dictionary?
Can't hear you. What?
Would it be in this dictionary?
Look up shards. S-H-A-R-D-S. Thank you. When you have it, let us know. I'm having a senior moment. So, they're there, but in each one exists a piece of divinity that keeps the shard, but the shard is broken. Whether the shard itself is just incomplete, or whether the shard is actually no longer too good, that it is in its broken state, but nonetheless it's broken, but there's still something of the divinity there. This is what you need for this whole part here. What's happened? What's happened is you've built a structure. See, let me go back to this. This whole thing in the Zohar, later on in the Lurianic Kabbalah, based on the Zohar, but own contribution, this whole deal happened. But actually, in the deep Kabbalah, it's constantly happening. In religious psychology, it's always happening. In your life, it's always happening. You're building structures, and the structures are falling apart. Often, you're outgrowing the structures. But just as you break up in a love relationship, it ain't such a happy moment, and you feel broken, and there's parts of you that are okay. Same thing that happens here in your love relationship with God. When the ordered universe that you have created within this halal allows for a divine light to enter, you say, you know what? I haven't reached the heights that I'm supposed to reach. My concept of God, sorry for the word concept, I apologize. My God, apologize for that. My God, my concept of God is too limited. It breaks. The king dies. Look what it says here. Meitim mishtabrim hakelim, going back there at the end of 4. Meitim hamalachim. The kings, if you look in Bereshit Lamed Vav, there's a whole section at the end of, beginning of Lamed Vav, 9 Pesukim, which are, if you're going to take out any 9 Pesukim from Genesis, most people say take these 9 Pesukim out, because they're really just talking about the kings of antiquity. Doesn't seem to have any real usage, but Kabbalah understands them as the Kalim, the kings that reigned. Let's take it back to our idea. The kings that reigned in your religious life, the way that you conceived of God. Those kings at some point die. They're broken, they die. Meitim, what's that last word? Meitim the idols. We're no longer saying, once they're broken, once this God concept is not equal to what God should be, or doesn't approach it, it's idolatrous worship. Ishtabrima kelim, meitim hamalachim, it's still a God, it's still a king. No, meitim ha'elim. Very severe. Did you find shards? Was it klipot? I'm hoping that it's klipot. Thank you. Cheres shever. Yeah, the real word is klipa. Klipa. The klipot are dead. What do you got? What's your first name again? Okay.
Is it possible that the Malachim are sort of the role models, the rabbis that would be
Oh, they're for sure dead. They're the first ones to go. All right. No, but that's also part of it also. And that also brings us into a terrible moment in which do they have to die? Do you have to reject those teachers?
You can just outgrow them.
What?
You can just outgrow them.
You can just outgrow them, but then that's a big recognition. And I guess for Rav Kook, it's not experiences outgrowing. That needs a mature person who went through it. And I'm serious, who can say to a younger person or someone else, you've outgrown it. But try telling that to your teacher.
How old was he when he wrote these poems?
He was 40 years old. It's published later on, but he was 40 years old. So what's happened now? Let's get to this. Yeah.
Just have a question. Is there any possibility that we are the shards?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then maybe if we can't contain the light by ourselves, that maybe we're meant to connect with others to so we build that.
Let me tell you about the poetry and how Rav Kook operates. You have to remain in the tension. And right now, we're experiencing tragedy. So don't, you got a nice answer for it, but don't go there. No, really, I'm serious. Don't go there. Experience the tragedy. Yes.
I know almost nothing about poetry, but any sense of just possibly
Referencing who?
other works of literature?
I think, look, I think he usually references everything. But I think this part is heavy duty Kabbalah.
It's just that one line of Magic on the page, it reminded me so much of that eighth line of things fall apart and you're kind of old, and I was wondering if he was kind of referencing that.
Okay, maybe that works. Maybe that works. I don't see it. I'm just saying I don't see it. Souls have departed. They've gone from the Rakia, from the firmament. We had an ordered life. They've gone up to heaven. The bodies, what's left of us, but the bodies of the former belief system are lowered to Alama de Peruda, the world of separation. Separation is probably not the right translation. World of alienation, fragmentation. In Kabbalah, that's our world. Our world's kind of hard to put everything together, put all the pieces together. So the bodies here would refer to the bodies of those kings, which means the God concepts are now, they're now college, they're now university courses. Havaya, existence, is unredeemed. She's mityat sevet. She's curdled, naked, alone, turned up, scattered. Within her, heaped up, hidden in secret. Desire eternal for the supernal life. At the last moment, they're still beating this little piece of the desire of not to live in the brokenness of former teachers that you may have outgrown, but where does that leave you? Okay? Or trying to regain a religious feeling. There is something still left. For Rav Kook, this is an endless process. Chesed olamim 6. Hiniach b'kelim v'nishbarim et oro et nitzutzav. God left. It's a chesed. It's a merciful thing that God left in His broken vessels, sparks, residue sparks of His life. In every life pulse, in every life substance, in all existence, not all existence, in everything that is, there's a spark, nitzutz. Sometimes it's only a nitzutz shel nitzutz. The dak, we call dak. Faint, but it exists. It's there. What's the desire? The desire is not just to live now in the tragedy, or the brokenness, but actually to come to where you want to go, actually to come somewhere. So now we finish it up. Inner light, so what we're talking about now, we've gone from Tzimtzum to Shvirat HaKelim, and now we're in Tikkun. Okay, this is Tikkun. Inner light, the light of God Supreme, builds, establishes, assembles what is scattered. Got to put it back together. Perfects worlds without end, orders and binds together. Next line is no good. Through the light unbounded within the soul. Hey, where is that Ain't Self? Okay, it's within you. The Ain't Self is within you. From God to the world, a new light is born, a light emanating from the splendor of God's face. 3 takeaways. Well, maybe I got 4. 1, actually it has to be you who does this, according to Rav Kook. It has to be your tikkun. It can't be somebody else's tikkun. Secondly, I think, it doesn't say it at the end, but I think what's implied, that it's an endless process. The God of your infancy will not be the God of your youth. There's always the carryover. It's not the God of your young adulthood, etc. And your God of your old age may still be another process of your growth. But what comes with it is heartache. It comes shvirah, confusion, brokenness. But here will be my 3rd point, maybe the last point of this. So how does this connect with the very beginning? Take a look again at the very beginning. This very happy beginning. I am filled with love for God, right? Take a look at it. I know what I seek, but I love can't be called by name. Nonetheless, he calls by name, and all great things begin. How does this connect? What do you got? Speak to the group.
At first, he starts with sort of like he's looking for God in the world. It says, something he's sort of absorbing from the world. At the end, it's something that's come that he's more experiencing from himself.
Okay. I like it. I may go somewhere else. I like it. Yes, I know that guy. Yeah.
Insofar as reading the beginning again after we get to the end,
Yeah.
makes it feel like it's been set up for the premise that every embodiment of God that we already told ourselves once we give it a name would become, it's not a failure, but a tragedy. It's not a failure.
Right.
I wonder if this seems a little bit compulsive.
By the way, go with which idea you're going with. Is this one idea or 2
It
ideas?
is one idea.
Okay.
One idea. It seems that insofar as it becomes a circular train,
Yeah.
I already understand my premise
Yeah.
before there's a shattering. And then we have a tikkun, and the tikkun almost matches up with the premise that we began with, which is that there is no deathless iteration of God. It feels a little bit, almost pathological, compulsive.
Okay.
I wonder.
Okay. I'm going to respond to that. What do you got?
Again, the door by door. I like the beginning of that, but I don't see the compulsion. I just think that through the tragedy, we see what the Phoenix rising. It's just a rebirth, regeneration, renewal. Maybe like in jazz, there's an A theme laid down, and then there's a B theme, and then you go back to the A theme, and it's different because it's been informed by the B theme. So now it's a prime. It's not really A. It's the same thing in the poem. The second time you read the poem, it's not the same experience as the first time.
Want to respond to that? You don't have to, but do you want to? Respond to it right now.
Okay. I like your optimism. I think it makes for probably a more stable way of relating to a relationship with God. But ultimately, I think that to feel like I don't think creation and destruction are mitigated or mediated by anything like progress in this. I don't see ultimate construction in this or progress.
Okay, and you were going to say? Thank you. Good.
This discussion, but he starts out by saying that the love that he's seeking, the love that he has is greater than existence, and then he goes into what existence is. And existence is filled with God, but it's that it's those things that are broken, that are limited, that are only part of it. And he comes at the end to that greater, that light that sees all of that light that is, that is there, that is beyond all of those different manifestations in reality and in existence. And that is what he's tending towards. And that's what he's been tending towards from the beginning.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you all for that. You have are you speaking to them or to me?
To you. I think it's
Speak to them. You want to speak to them?
It's romantic in the Greco, I mean, you set it up. It's romantic in the Greco-Roman sense. Love conquers all. That's what the first line, that's why it's a headline. That's what's supposed to stay in us throughout this whole process of growth and rebirth. Love conquers all. And for all the tribulations and all the pangs of destruction and all that, love conquers all. The love of God.
Lovely as well, or acute as well. I appreciate it. So let me now, having heard, let me say where I'm more and more convinced. I go back to, in love, you have to risk. And you have to learn to say, I love. And Rav Kook doesn't deny the experience and the gods that people have until they're no longer sufficient. If they're no longer sufficient, they're no longer adequate, if they're too limited in their sense, then they have already died in you. He validates the experience of that death of God. Can't even say those words, it's heresy. But the death of that is not our religion, but the death of that God concept. He validates that. And he says there is Shvira. And he talks about tikkun that takes place after the Shvira. The fact that it may be endless, it's a spiral. For him, it's a spiral up as opposed to a circle below. That's how he understands it. I want to say one more point with this, which I think follows. If a person says to you, if that person even happens to be yourself, and you say to yourself or someone close to you, I cannot love God, it may be a very limited God that we're talking about. A God that no longer you can love, or no longer is really that lovable. And the trials and tribulations of life and the joys of life bring you to another level. So I have 10 minutes before I have to leave. Well, I know it's 15 there. But 10 minutes, which means rabbinically means a half hour. No, 10 minutes, which means 15, because I gotta get on a plane. Because Cheryl said to me, Daniel, you need to be home tomorrow. Okay, I've been away for a couple of weeks. So I want to take you quickly through, I have to choose. Anyway, okay, I have the Miss Security. What page is that on? Okay, so it's in Hebrew, sorry, it's not there. Our Palei Tohar which is actually from Rav Kook's private diary, journal. It's on page 47, Mem Zion, it's not listed here. These are jottings that he wrote, and they're not necessarily sequential, but these two paragraphs do follow each other. I'm not able to distinguish absolutely between all that which exists, except for a distinction of degrees. He's talking about life. But he also means just existence. I'll do this very deep now. Being, Havaya, is revealed to me in its entire scope, from the smallest creation to a spiritual manifestation, which happens to be full of might, greatness, splendor, crowned with the crown of wisdom, understanding, knowledge, from the smallest to the highest. Its might, meaning the might of Havaya, of existence, which gathers together all opposites, projects the majesty of existence. Its splendor, full of knowing, sets the foundation for all, making everything blossom, soul, spirit's life. It brings them forth in full value, meaning their full manifestation. It empowers them, would be a word we would use today, into one gathering, a royal order, Hashem Melech. This phrase, it's an integrated vision. It's a vision says it's an ecological, it's a theological, integrative ecological vision in which you can say, which you no longer can say, this is part of my world and that has no place in my world. For Rav Kook, you can't say that. It's all connected. It's all part of Havaya, existence given to us, and to say that I will live in La Jolla and not worry about acid rain that comes someplace from Canada, or is it the reverse? I don't remember. To say is a ridiculous statement. It's as ridiculous to say that I can cut myself up from any part of existence. Now then he applies this to specifically, it's a separate paragraph, he may have written it at the same time, but it's connected. It is fitting to be attached to the entirety, to be mechubar, attached to the entirety of Klal Yisrael. And the more one will purify his thoughts and actions, yes, he's gone particular here. Rav Kook tries to deal with the particular, tries to deal with the universal, and tries to deal with the universal within the particular. And the more he will purify his thoughts and actions, so he'll be able to be attached to the greatest levels and also the smallest levels of the entirety of the Klal. It's called Klal Yisrael for a reason. Okay? Not with a kuf, with a chaf. But according to the minuteness and intensity of judgments, so will the attachments be less inclusive. But once you start judging somebody else in the Klal, once you are very exact about your judgments, once you're very harsh about your judgments, what will happen? Your attachment to that which you criticize will be less. And the more one lacks attachments to the lowliest level, doesn't give up completely hierarchy, as he said in the very first part. He has the notion that all is integrated, all is part. He has a hierarchical terminology, which doesn't go so well today, but he has an inclusive vision, which I think is extraordinarily important. The more one lacks attachment to the lowliest level, my grandfather, blessed memory, taught me Rav Kook. It was very close to was Rav Kook's election, chairman of Rabbi Kook's election committee for chief rabbis. Okay, Rav Kook did not know that he had a committee for them. And the more one lacks attachment to the lowest level, to that same degree, you will lack attachment to the greatest of all levels. Once you detach yourself from any other part, then you're detaching yourself from the whole. And who says you can only attach yourself to that which is the greatest and the best? It's ridiculous. This is an integrative notion. The second one, he's focusing on Klal Yisrael, but it's very true for what he said at the very beginning in terms of the world. So now we have to go back to this section that we talked about. The moral principles. We're going to take turns. You read first. Okay. Moral principles number 1. Do it in English. Those who want to look at Hebrew is fine. I'll throw in Hebrew, it's important. What page is that on? Okay. 4. Moral principles. Musar. Okay. The heart.
The heart must be filled with love for all.
Now he talks about how does it happen in life. Continue, Victoria.
The love of all creation comes first, then comes the love for all mankind, and then follows the love for the Jewish people, in which all other loves are included, since it is the destiny of the Jews to serve towards the perfection of all things.
Right, Tikkun. What can I tell you? He was a believer. You read next.
The love of all creation comes first, then comes the love for all mankind, and then follows the love for the Jewish people, in which all other loves are included, since it is the destiny of the Jews to serve towards the perfection of all things.
Read another line.
All these loves are to be expressed in practical action by pursuing the welfare of those who are bidden to love and to seek their advantage.
Okay, you love? Okay, here's the Jewish part of all this. Help them out. Tachlis. Next reader.
But the highest of all love is the love of God, which is love in its fullest maturity.
Next reader. Okay, next reader.
This love is not intended for any sort of good effects. When it fills the human heart, it itself spells an answer to his happiness.
Okay, next.
One cannot but love God.
I couldn't, that's all I could translate. And this sweet?
And this sweet necessary love must engender the practical consequence and active love for everything in which we perceive the light of God.
Next reader. One cannot.
One cannot but love the Torah and the commandments, which are so intimately linked to the goodness of God.
Next.
One cannot but love equity and righteousness, the benign order that exists is good for all. It is firmly linked to the reality of its existence, and which the heart envisions excellence, that because of its majesty and beauty, it does not include the will of God.
Next reader. Divine will.
The divine will is manifested, but it is greater than all this, and distinct from all this. It nourishes the soul of every living being with delight beyond anything to which thought could reach.
Okay, next. Wendy, I want you to read this line. Okay, stop there. Read it in Hebrew now. B.F. Shar. With every creature. Okay? Next reader. For the flow. Okay. You want to love God? Then love the way that God loves. Loves the Havaya, which is contained within God. Love the creatures large and small, creatures we're familiar with, and the other creatures. How can you not, if you love God, how can you not love all? And what type of God would it be if you didn't? Okay, could you read number 10?
Much effort is needed to broaden the love for people.
Probably be at the proper level.
At the proper level, at which it must pervade life to its fullest depth.
Okay, my next reader over there. This must be done.
This must be done in opposition to the superficial view, which suggests itself initially on the basis of inadequate study of the Torah and of conventional morality, and where it would seem as though there is a contradiction to such love, or at least indifference to it.
Yeah. That's where you throw out your other teachers. It's at this point. You have thank them for what they gave you. The teachers are racist. They are solely nationalistic. They couldn't give a damn about anybody else. They can't see the good. Then they believe in a God that you have already outgrown. You've already outgrown that God, therefore you've outgrown that teacher. Did you read this?
The highest level of love for people is the love due the individual person. It must embrace every single individual regardless of differences of views on religion or differences of race or climate.
Last reader, in the green and white,
It is essential to understand the mentalities of different nations and groups, to study their characteristics and lifestyles, in order to know how to base our human love on foundations that will readily translate themselves.
in other words, it has to be done. There's a couple more lines. Did you realize? Next reader.
Only a person richly loves the people and loves each individual person, each love a nation with noblest dimension, spiritually and practically.
Okay, the next, narrow-mindedness.
Narrow-mindedness that leads one to do whatever is outside of particular nation, equals outside of Jewish people, as ugly and tiring as a piece of the fruitful darkness that undermines altogether every effort to reach that seed of spiritual development whose dawn is awaited by every sense of spirit.
You want to be religious? You want to be, what do we say the terms? We're getting taught here by a man who wore a beaver cap and a long black frock. You know? He says, we're living in the dark ages. We're believing in a God that's a idolatrous God. The love for all becomes a reflection of our love for God, which is a reflection of the work we put into it. Any last comments? Now I told you love everybody. You don't have to love me. Is there a comment?
I have a question.
Please. Speak to the group.
Okay. You said earlier that there's pantheism in this. I definitely hear that throughout, not just the.
Say it again, I said.
Pantheism. You mentioned pantheism earlier.
Yeah.
While we were kind of deconstructing the first moment, but seeing this line of work that we just did quickly also. That's Spinoza. Spinoza got excommunicated, so I'm just wondering when pantheism became.
Rav Kook wanted to bring Spinoza back.
Wow.
Okay? He wanted to bring Spinoza back. He sometimes says it, other times he had to hide it. Okay? Because Britain wanted to have the statue of Spinoza in Spinoza flag. It's kind of funny. A guy who's complete monotheist who wanted to make an idol. It's kind of funny with Britain. I mean, you know. So Cook says that Spinoza was a tzaddik. They had true love, and it was engendered from true love for all. It was engendered from this feeling of completeness and wholeness. Part of our task as all of us as students of Torah is not to have to take the move that Spinoza took, which is to leave the community. I know, and I saw the plays, I read the book, I know the whole thing.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, so here's my point. My point is, or to give up on the sense on the, he didn't give up full answer, but he gave up a lot. So for our book, this is descriptive, go back to the original thing. It's prescriptive. It's how we're supposed to understand Torah. It's supposed to be inclusive. How we bring the new integration into play. And so, we bring Spinoza back into the debate. We drop and argue with him and say to him, you're right, the Phil is still good. You're right, the Catholic is actually a good one. We could do this. This is really a case of losing one of our brightest minds in our lives because the social reality, the around the community, they were extraordinarily afraid of not being seen as being religious. They didn't know how to deal with it. So you're right, they got rid of it because of their own insecurities. We should be plenty secure by now. What do you got?
I wanted to know that it doesn't have an meaning where it says, in narrow-mindedness that leads one to do whatever is outside of particularity, even what is outside of it, as ugly and defiling.
So root ayin is narrow-mindedness.
Right. So in Hebrew it says, meaning that it's a narrow-mindedness that doesn't involve any kind of sort of respect or understanding. But I don't know, it was missing that drop in English.
Okay, good. I'm glad you put it in. And the term is, it's matame. What is tuma? I'll give you a last word. What's tuma? Tuma, clean, pure, like words over. Tahara is the possibility of integration. If you're tahar, people are tahar, they can engage in marital intimacy. Tahar, you go to the Beit HaMikdash, you get a part. Tuma, which is a natural state of affairs. But tuma is alienation. That's my functional definition. Landy's definition of tuma is alienation. We all live through alienation. It's part of what we are. However, when you're in a permanent state of tuma, you know what you are? You're dead. Right? And there's nothing more tummy than dead. No empathy, no feeling, no regesh, no this. We have to when you see other people hurting and you can't relate to it, it's not the right time to say something for it. But I'll say something. It's not the right time. It's after my time, so I can say it now. Not part of that. I've written different things recently, popular articles that are not very popular. The thing that people got the most angry beyond. Some of my students say, you want to make people angry. But this one, which me and Sharata did for their part, wrote an article called Compassion for Gaza. It wasn't about compassion for Gaza, Rahmanu for Gaza. And what I try to say there in the article is I wasn't saying whether the war was wrong. I actually supported the war. You know, I have a son who wears a uniform. You know, support it. Not that. I say afterwards, when you have a devastated world and you have a devastated community, you have to have some compassion. No one got this made people more mad than it did. And I'm trying to figure out why. I kind of wrote it that way, maybe. But okay, so that's my problem. But I think actually it was because there's a nitzutz of compassion left in Jews. And when they see that they don't have compassion, it drives them crazy. If they thought it was just ridiculous, they wouldn't have gotten so angry. When we lose compassion, I didn't write this, by the way, kind of proves that Rav Kook was not necessarily a Kook. But Rav Kook, when he wrote this, he was trying to say is you can't live nominally. You gotta be smart, you gotta be tough. Other things we didn't have here. Smart and tough, and I have some of the pages here. Smart and tough, and that all this involvement has to be crowned with heroism. Yes, yes, yes. Well, you lose this attachment to the world, and you lose the attachment to God. And you're in Israel, visit us in Pardes. We have somebody here who can help set that up. A lot of people know Pardes. Thank you, Yafa. And if you walk down to Tayela, you see Rav Levi. I live in only 9. You can knock on the door, and I'll come out to play. Okay? So very good. I forgot you. Sorry. What's your name? Monica. Speak to me.
Okay. So you mentioned panentheism, and I heard you say Spinoza was panentheistic. As far as I know, he was pantheistic, which is a different thing.
In his end, he's panentheistic that all's within God. He seems to imply, now he says in this poem and elsewhere that that until you have a more perfected idea of God, you are already in a polytheistic mode. Rav Kook. Oh, you're talking about? I
was mentioning Spinoza.
Oh, Spinoza.
Your answer to
Spinoza is panentheistic. Now, absolutely. Well, he's panentheism on steroids. Okay. Okay. And I'll end with the fact we need to bring Spinoza back. Also, we should have found him a shit out. Would have worked a lot better. Thank you very much.